Hello! This is XYZN1, also known as Dawn, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't intend for this to be a full-fledged series, but if it happens, it happens. Regardless, today I would like to explore the advent of Master Rule 4 and how I think link summoning could be changed to provide more interactivity in the current game state simply by amending an official ruling for link monsters. That ruling of course pertains to their immunity to cards such as Book of Moon, Lose One Turn, and other cards that change battle positions. In short, what if link monsters could be changed to defense position, and what are some of the pros and cons of incorporating such a change? For starters, or for those unfamiliar with what a link monster is, let's take a look at the layout of a link monster card. You can see here that there is no formal defense stat. That, along with the link markers, quote-unquote, justifies why link monsters can't change their battle positions. Which on paper makes sense, but when you delve into some other aspects of the Yu-Gi-Oh game, you realize how inherently bullshit that statement is. To elaborate on this claim, let's take a look at a staple Link 4 known as Firewall Dragon. Notice how this card has link markers in each cardinal direction: up, down, left, and right. So if I were to shift it 90 degrees like so,
Oh, okay.
then the markers are in the same spots and nothing has really changed. In short, it doesn't matter which direction this particular card is facing. You still have access to the same zones for link summoning and co-linking that you did before that 90-degree shift. The other issue with the positioning is the lack of a formal defense stat. While a vast majority see this as a definitive reason to keep them in attack position,
I disagree!
we have seen in the past that there are cards that can attack while in defense position. One of the first to do so was Total Defense Shogun. Since then we have had Elemental Hero Rampart Blaster, Invoked Coitus, I hope I pronounced that right. Hell, we even have an entire archetype from Arc V that can do that. In addition to the attack while in defense position ability, Total Defense Shogun and cards like it, with the exception of Super Heavy Samurai, include some reminder text stating, if this card attacks while in defense position, apply the attack of this card for damage calculation. Keeping that in mind, why can't we do the same thing with having a link monster's attack double as a defense stat? Why can't we have it so that if a link monster just so happens to be in defense position, we can apply its attack for purposes of damage calculation? How often have you made a link 2 or 3 and somehow got stopped from going into other link monsters? A lot of the link monsters below link 3 have rather piss poor stats, pardon my French. So wouldn't it be nice to have these stepping stone guys be in defense position to reduce some of the inevitable damage you'll be taking from your opponent's counterattack should your combo get interrupted? One issue regarding this 90-degree shift with respect to Link 1 monsters in particular is that their only marker tends to point straight down, with the notable exception being Sky Strikers. This isn't a bad thing given their inherent immunity to position-altering abilities. However, if link monsters were susceptible to cards like Stumbling, you could stop, or at the very least hinder your opponent from climbing the ladder into their bigger and more problematic monsters. There are also some link monsters with what I call offset link markers, such as Vector Square Archfiend and Trickstar Bella Madonna, that are prime cases for position altering to open more zones to summon to. But what about using link zones defensively? Recently released in Cybernetic Horizon, we got access to the Palladian or Crusadia archetype, whose link monsters all have the following effect. monsters that this monster points to cannot attack. And you may be thinking, but Don, how could that be used to interrupt your opponent? Well, if you happen to be playing the Crusadia deck, make a Crusadia Regulix or Equimax, and your opponent drops a creature swap style card on their turn, you are usually in a tough spot.
But wait!
Depending on where they dropped the card they stole, you could potentially soft lock your opponent during the battle phase.
Really?
Hypothetically, if you encounter this particular predicament and have a set Book of Moon or similar card, you could limit the amount of attacks you take by forcing your Crusadia monster to point to more zones than your opponent originally intended.
Book 'em, Dano.
Making it so that the other monsters it points to beef up the Crusadia monster, but are now unable to attack due to the Crusadia Link monster's effect. Not only does the altering of battle position open up and potentially disrupt plays under this proposal, but it also opens the proverbial door for future product from Konami. What I mean by that is that it could lead to alternative link marker positions for future link monsters, and the ability to make link monsters with a higher rating than 4. And before someone mentions it in the comments, I do know about Sanctity of Dragon, but that is a tournament prize card and not technically TCG tournament legal, since it is considered a match winner, so I'm not counting it for the purposes of this post. Personally, I would like to see how they pull off a Link 8 end of arc style boss monster, similar to what they did with Zark for Arc V, number S0 Utopic Zexal for Zexal, and Shooting Quasar Dragon for 5Ds. Seeing these details, I feel that a proposed amendment to Master Rule 4 could be written as follows. Link monsters can be special summoned in or changed to face-up defense position by card effect, but the controller of the Link monster chooses how the Link monster is oriented upon resolution of such an effect or while entering the field for a summon. They cannot be face down, but cards like Book of Moon can still change them to face-up defense position. What this amendment does is not only provide interactivity with your opponent, but also expands the potential utility of some Link monsters. For instance, if you have a Decode Talker in your middle main monster zone for some reason, you could change it to defense position and still have it point to up to 2 monsters you control, regardless of which extra monster zone you or your opponent have occupied. From a disruption standpoint, you could interrupt the infamous Grinder Golem combo with Stumbling, or other cards that change monsters to defense position on summon, since your opponent's Link Spider or Link Karibo, or other generic Link 1 for that matter, in the extra monster zone will no longer be unlocking positions in their main monster zones. Konami might be thinking, oh, but we went out of our way to promote that combo in a press release and everything.
Shut your bitch ass up!
I said it disrupted, but it doesn't necessarily stop the combo. I'm sure Jeff Jones or somebody else will find out some other convoluted combo with a Link 2 under this guideline that can still pull off a Grinder Golem loop, but that is a tale for another time. In conclusion, I feel that Link monsters should be affected by position switching cards. They still can't be put face down due to the Link markers, but they should not be immune from disruption cards that either allow your opponent to disrupt their plays or potentially extend your own plays in the case of Vector Square Archfiend and Link monsters with similar Link markers down the line. That being said, thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to comment your impressions down below, or leave suggestions for future videos on this channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, to help circulate the video and subscribe for other content on my channel if you enjoyed this piece. Who knows? Konami's Research and Development Division might stumble upon this and take this proposal under consideration. Anyways, catch you all later on.